Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host Sean McGahee. This is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Spotify, Google Podcast, Anchor, wherever, guys. I'm everywhere, okay? While you're there, go and rate, review, subscribe, then head on over to the Facebook group and Twitter account and join in the discussion. Well, hello, everyone. Hope you all enjoying your Monday. It's been a nice day for me so far. So today, I had a lot of people, message me while I was at work. First one being my buddy JR about this story about Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman in the Flash movie. I was like, whatever, it's just another of those rumors, one of those websites that just are putting stuff out there just to make waves. It's so far-fetched, whatever, okay? And then my brother came out, and he sent me the link too. And from a different website, I'm like, well, okay, still nothing's confirmed. There's no sources or whatever. And then later, Hollywood Reporter came out. Now, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, those are kind of the three most reputable sites in Hollywood. When you tell me the trades, those are the trades. So I didn't really think much of it, but Hollywood Reporter says it is about 99% sure that it's true. So I got home and, I tried to record a quick one to try to put it up online. Well, in between then, I took my daughter swimming, just got back, and I thought about it, and I wasn't happy with how I did it. I felt like I rushed through it, so I want to come back and redo it because, I'm not the guy who does the scoop, okay? I do this show. It's a hobby of mine. I don't get paid for it. It's just, I do it because I love, to talk about this stuff, and I love to start discussions about this stuff. It's a whole reason I started this podcast and, the Facebook group and Twitter, just to, discuss the things that I love. And I don't do a lot of these episodes nowadays because I'm busy, and I always want to try to do an episode where I feel like I have a lot to say and not just some, news story about Warrior Nun, which I think looks cool, but I'd probably have about 5 minutes to say about that, and that would be it. But this kind of story, I feel like, it's right up my alley. It's Batman, it's Flash, it's, the movies intermixing, and it's right up, my specialty. So I feel like I have a lot to say about it. So let's dig into this, guys. Okay. From the Hollywood Reporter, it is said that Michael Keaton, who famously starred as Batman in Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns, is going to be back to reprise the character in Warner Brothers' upcoming Flash movie starring Ezra Miller. Now, the Flash film has had a lot of developmental hell, several directors, several writers. The star himself has gotten into some personal issues lately. So, from what we're getting from the Hollywood Reporter and other sources like Say the Rap, basically Michael Keaton is going to play the same character he played in the Batman films, Bruce Wayne, but he's going to be kind of a Nick Fury-esque type character, the way Samuel L. Jackson was in the MCU in that first phase, trying to recruit the team and bring them together. It's almost like he's going to be that constant person throughout the films, which leads me to believe that, he's going to be kind of recruiting people for maybe a more multiple crises, if you will. So with this Flash film, it's also said that it's going to be based off of Flashpoint, the story by Jeff Johns, where Flash goes back in time to save his mother from dying and ends up wrecking the timeline. There's a lot to dissect in this story, to say the least. So let's start off with the most obvious. Michael Keaton back as Batman. Cool. I grew up on those Michael Keaton Batman films, okay? It's said that he's going to be some kind of mentor or guide, kind of pulling the strings in DC films. And of course, it's mentioned in the Hollywood Reporter article that Batgirl is one of the possible projects in development, so it could tie into Batman-esque type things. Now, this is a very important part. Warner's had no comment. That's what it says on the Hollywood Reporter. So I have not heard anything from Warner's, Michael Keaton, Ezra Miller. I'm thinking the way it is, he's going to be some type of multi-dimensional Nick Fury in my eyes, the way I see it works, because, Flashpoint and the Flash is all about, going through time and space, going through Earth 2, Earth 7, Earth 52, whatever, he's crossing those barriers, and along those lines, he finds a Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne, maybe along those lines too. Now, for those who saw last year's CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's no surprise, that this stuff happens, of course. Any good comic book reader knows that, multiple dimensions and multiple versions of characters happen. And no doubt you can see that on the CW, where even they had like a brief little flash, no pun intended, of the Knox from the Tim Burton Batman. And I believe they played a little bit of the Danny Elfman Batman theme in just a little clip of it is what it was. And then, of course, later on, you saw Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman in the Batman animated series, played an older, begrudging Batman as well. So again, multiple Batmans at work. Rewinding a little bit, Ezra Miller is a Flash that came from a shared universe that starts with Man of Steel. Then we had Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Suicide Squad, all that stuff. Thomas Wayne, in Flashpoint, the book, becomes Batman after his son is murdered in the alley and his wife goes crazy and becomes the version of Joker, actually is what it is. And Thomas Wayne becomes a begrudging, rough Batman in the Flashpoint narrative. If we were doing kind of a Flashpoint storyline, I know there are people out there, much like myself, who, as soon as we saw Jeffrey Dean Morgan play Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman, my first thought was, man, he'd make a great Flashpoint Batman. And that's something I'd love to see. But it looks like they're going the other way with it, of course. Maybe they're not going to get that exactly, but seeing an older Michael Keaton be a wise Bruce Wayne and see kind of a bigger threat happening in the multiverse is something that could be a really good story arc. And of course, Michael Keaton back as a character, you got nostalgia factor there, so that'd be pretty cool. Here's why I go negative, guys, okay? Flash is a movie that has not had a lot of luck in the development process. Ezra Miller's Flash comes from a shared universe that is not very well received. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, was the one that probably did the best out of all the before it. Warner Brothers, since Justice League, have kind of gone real solo. I mean, yes, they're using Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Shazam still seems to be in the same universe. Birds of Prey, of course, it's all in the same universe, but really not interconnecting like it was before Justice League. With Ezra Miller, we saw only a little bit of his origin in Flash and kind of what this character's world is like. The first film in any franchise, whether, it's starting off or not, needs to introduce the world. And going back to say Aquaman, yes, we saw Aquaman in Justice League, but it wasn't until his solo film that we got the origin of Atlantis, his origin, and his rogues gallery was kind of introduced. They started off with him fighting his brother, that's kind of a main storyline, right? With this, in Flash, I feel like you have to, again, start simple. Forget, the years and seasons of Flash on the CW. You are bringing this character pretty much brand new to the big screen, except for one appearance in Justice League, which a lot of people, A, didn't see, or B, didn't really like. So you're starting fresh. And to start a character like this, you have to take his super speed, much like they did, on the CW. Every so often, Barry learned a new ability that he could do with his super speed, whether it be, vibrate through walls or flash time, or of course, yes, time travel. So if you take a first Flash film and immediately go to Flashpoint, arguably, the biggest event that Flash has done within the last couple of decades in the comic books, one that has, irrepressible repercussions throughout the DC universe, for the last decade. How do you start your Flash that way? How do you start with the most pivotal moment in Flash history, the most biggest thing in Flash history? That was kind of my problem with Man of Steel And really goes to my problem with the way Warner Brothers handled the entire DC lineup was, with Superman, Man of Steel, you had him fight Zod and an army of Supermen in the first film. And then in the second one, you had him fight Doomsday and die. Within 2 films of your Superman franchise, you had him fighting 2 of his toughest opponents. I mean, Doomsday, arguably his toughest opponent, right? I mean, he killed him. You literally jumped from, not even step 1 to like step 12. I feel like that's something that Warner Brothers needs to take a breath, and I hope they would have learned their lesson by now. They need to take it slow. They're trying to play this catch-up game with Marvel, and that's the problem with all these studios trying to, bring in another cinematic universe because they see the billions and billions of dollars that Marvel Studios is making with their shared cinematic universe. So we have to do it too, so we can make billions and billions of dollars. Their first film, Iron Man, did not make $1 billion. Thor did not make $1 billion. Captain America: The First Avenger did not. Their first 5-6 films did not break box office records, okay? Throughout the years, Marvel has built a reputation slowly of expanding their world more and more with each film, starting very small with a very small film like Iron Man, and then branching out slowly from there, going cosmic, going time travel. By the time we get to that 20-second film or whatever film Endgame was, we had hours upon hours upon hours of built up, not only world building, but character development as well, to where we cared about these characters. And my problem with Warner Brothers and the DC Universe is, again, they're trying to jump from step 1 to step 12, and you can't do that and expect your audience to follow you along. You can't jump into a character who most people know as just being really super fast, and then all of a sudden he's crossing dimensional barriers and visiting, alternate dimensions of Bruce Wayne, which we knew was Ben Affleck, and you can do that with comic book fans. I've been reading comic books my whole life. I'm fine with that. I think it's a cool idea. But if you do that with your general audience, someone like, say, my sister-in-law, Melanie, not a big fan of the whole sci-fi comic book superhero genre. She likes some of them, but not a lot of them. If you want to get her into Flash, you do not start your first Flash movie with Flashpoint. You do not start at level 12 or step 12, as I've been saying. You have to gradually work her into it to where Flashpoint is your 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th Flash film. Okay? You have to establish too that, what Barry's mother's death means to him from the get-go, before you completely break that down. And that's, again, another thing I like about Man of Steel at the end when, he broke Zod's neck. And people are thinking, oh, that's so brutal. And I'm like, yeah, it's brutal, but I agree to the point that he had no other choice to do it. But with a character who is known for always trying to do the right thing, always trying to find a solution that does not even involve violence, for him, before he's even, kind of set up his moral code, he completely breaks what Superman's all about. If Zod would have been the second film and not the first one, and that would have happened, I would have been completely fine with it, because we would have had a whole 2+ hours of Superman getting to know this character, what he's like, and what he wants to do before you go and have him face a decision like that, where it just, completely breaks everything that he stands for. And I feel this is kind of the same thing, where before you know who Barry Allen is and what his mother meant to him, what his mother's death meant to him, you're taking that away already. So seeing Michael Keaton in this as a multi-dimensional Bruce Wayne, trying to bring together maybe some heroes, it would be cool to see Michael Keaton back in that kind of preference. But to make a Flash movie, the first one out of the gate, Flashpoint, that is my problem with the whole thing. With the whole story, it not has to do with Michael Keaton. It has to do with Flashpoint. And that's kind of where I stand on that, guys. But where do you stand on it? Fire back, let me know. Dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com, Facebook group, and of course the Twitter account. They are there. Let's discuss it, guys. Flashpoint movie, Flash movie, Michael Keaton is Batman, story ideas. I want to hear them, okay? You can find me personally, Slim Dayspring 12 on Twitter and Instagram. And that's it, guys. Go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your life. And until next time, may the force be with us all.